Hey everyone, and welcome to part 5 of Becoming Whole and Complete Again. This is Natasha Fernandez, and today we are going to talk on social engagement and co regulation. So, now these may be new terminologies for a few people, but as always, I am going to put it in simple terms so that you understand, make use of it, and lead an effective life and a trauma free life. And for the ones who haven't watched the first 4 videos, please go and watch it so that you may connect to this concept and know how to use it effectively. So, what do we mean by social engagement? Okay, the term itself is easily explainable, where we are socially engaging ourselves with other people, other human beings, pets, or a society at large. Now, this could occur in your family setup, at workplace, and anywhere in a group setup. So, when we are talking about social engagement, how is that connected to trauma? Okay, isn't that supposed to be a nice and a pleasant place and a happy experience? So, that's exactly where I am coming. A social engagement or a place or a relationship between two or more people is supposed to be rewarding, is supposed to have a positive effect and reinforcement in your life. But if it happens otherwise, if it has a negative effect, if it has a deteriorating effect in your life, that is where trauma hits in, and that is where trauma is created. So initially, a trauma begins like a stressor for the ones where it is happening repeatedly. So, how do we understand what your nervous system or what role your nervous system plays in the entire situation? Okay, so we are very familiar with the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system by now. So, in short, again, if we are just summing it up, your sympathetic nervous system is responsible for the fright and flight method. Your parasympathetic is responsible for anything to do with immobilization or with rest and rejuvenation. Okay, so the sympathetic will get when it's threatened, when there is danger. The parasympathetic, which is supposed to put us in the rest and relaxation mode, can also put us in immobilization mode. And when does it happen? When there is too much of stress, when there is repeated exposure of trauma to that person, you may freeze as a response because you don't know what to do. And all these three responses that we have been discussing in the couple of videos are for survival. So, don't get me wrong or don't get the concept wrong. Your body is not doing anything wrong. Your body is doing all these things to keep you safe. And that is also the reason where trauma is created, where the concept of memories come up, where the body and your mind is trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you safe from danger, trying to keep you safe from life threatening situations. So, in a social setup, how is this applicable? Okay, so anytime you sense danger, okay, anytime you feel unsafe in a social setup, the other nervous system is going to kick in. It is going to try to mobilize you, trying to either get away from there or put up a fight. Okay, so this part is understood. And the other one where you freeze, because when your system is shutting down, you're going blank, you don't have memory of exactly what happened. Okay, that is where your parasympathetic comes in place. How do we recognize dangers? How do we recognize these cues in a social engagement setup? Mostly we recognize these cues by facial expressions, by tone of voice. So largely our face and the upper torso of our body is responsible for you or for anyone to make them feel safe or unsafe. So as I said, your facial expression. So if you are greeting someone with, a very nice and soft tone, if you have a warm smile on your face, and if you have a nice hug or, a handshake that is very confident and very reassuring, that will put you in a safe place. That will help you socially and positively engage with people. At the same time, anywhere you have felt unsafe, Okay, if someone, you go to meet someone or in a social setup where no one is smiling at you, or they have frowned upon you, or someone has an expression of a blank expression or anger on their face or disapproval of you, okay, your body is going to react. Why? Because that is sensing that as a danger. So, any form of unpleasant experience on someone else's face is going to put your body in some kind of reaction. The tone of voice. So if there is like rudeness, or if there is anger, like raising of your voice, or if there is shouting or yelling, again, your body is going to sense danger. And if the touch does not feel safe, so this happens many times to cases of sexual abuse. Okay, if the touch does not feel safe, your body is either going to go into the immobilization state or into the sympathetic nervous system state. So now, how are we, again, I'm putting this question, how are we connecting that to social engagement? For example, someone has been in a abusive relationship for a long time. See, it's very easy to say, why didn't you get out or walk out of the relationship? It's easier said than done. So we will leave people to their situation assessment and not judge them here. Okay. So if someone has been into a relationship or abusive relationship, this same situation, okay, has happened many times over the years, okay, or it has been a repetition so that it has become chronic. So all the person, now this irrespective of a male or a female, all the person has done has felt unsafe in the relationship. If it's between a child and a parent, all the child has done has felt unsafe in the relationship. Now, there are other social cues that I will tell you about, which is body shaming. Okay. No matter who the group of people are, it will mostly come from the ones you interact. Either it will be body shaming, it will be bullying, it will be teasing, and all of these also, because they are words. If you remember the basics, your facial expressions, your words, and your tone, okay, and your body language. So these are going to put the other person either in defense or in a warm relationship. So, if a child is going to stay or being exposed to the state, it has stored so much of trauma already in the body that that is how the child goes and forms relationship. Out of fear, or unfortunately, it may attract the same kind of relationships which the body is used to. The body is used to being in that stressful state all the time. Okay, so this is also called another term which is known as hyperarousal. You're always in the hyper state. You're always in the, anxious and anxiety and state of stress. You do not know how to calm down. So, what is the solution for this? Co-regulation is the solution. Now, there are two aspects here. One is self-regulation. Okay, self-regulation is where you are helping your own self. If you are able to do that, nothing like it. Okay, so when it comes to self-regulation, there are two things that you can do. One, observe your body, sensations, triggers, body temperature, body language when you are in a social setup. You will have to take an inventory of that. You will have to start assessing of how you feel among certain people and how you feel compared to the other group. How you feel with one person, whether you feel good, you feel bad, and it's not about being used to that person. How does your body feel? What is your body telling you? Does your body feel uneasy, uncomfortable, nauseous, or restricted, or any kind of unpleasant emotion or thought? And the second part is that how do you act? Like, do you react or do you shut down? Like, there are certain times where we are very reactive to certain groups and people, but just because we feel we do not have another set of friends or we do not have any other set of people, we take on to that trauma until that becomes an abuse. Okay. So, here, if you are choosing self regulation, which means working on yourself, first take inventory of how you feel in certain situations and make an inventory of your triggers so that you are aware. of your triggers. And this is not as a mechanism of avoidance. Okay, avoidance and denial is not going to work. But if you have an inventory of your trigger, as I said, you are aware and healing can begin. You can change and you can start implementing all the other aspects which I told you in video number 4 about regulating your vagus nerve. Second part, the co-regulation part. So if you are choosing co-regulation, start working with a friend who is willing to support you. So in the places or in the situations where you feel anxious, you can ask a friend to accompany you or help you. Or just by talking, you can share what you feel that will make you feel lighter. So, just by talking and sharing, I do not guarantee that your trauma is going to be reduced, but the act of someone listening you out also itself is healing. You will start feeling good because you will have a calm and positive response from the person who is supporting you in co-regulation. The best part, what I would say, is if you have a chronic trauma, a long-standing stress issue, please work with a trauma-informed therapist or any therapist that is or who is qualified to help you with trauma regulation and nervous system regulation. And the third part of co regulation is again observing yourself in these social situations and putting an effort to put up a list of reactions and triggers so that you can share it either with your friend or with your therapist. And the more you are aware, okay, I am again repeating this, the more you make yourself aware, no matter how uncomfortable it is, the more you are choosing to change yourself, the more ease you will create in your mind and in your body. So, this is all that I have for today, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care.
Help Talks are daily health related talks held at Health Education Library for People, Mumbai, India. For more information, visit www.healthlibrary.com. Subscribe to Help Talks channel. Be better informed about your health.